again, that bill that was rejected by the Senate prohibited the wall. The defense authorization bill that passed the House prohibits the wall. That prohibits funds from the Pentagon being diverted to the wall. Again, back to why I voted for something that had too much money in it, but the policies I liked, and prohibited the wall. You know, the president says the wall is about drug smuggling, or, you know, and nothing's further from the truth. If you go to Guzman's trial, you know, his associates testified that they don't haul drugs across the desert in backpacks. They put them in semis and they take them through legal ports of entry, because we only inspect 6% of the trucks with high technology. And now more and more they're you know, using the oceans.
How about IEDs?
And I don't know if you saw the video, but there was a video.
About
actually,
IEDs?
One of my staff's, his son was engaged in that video that you saw, where they jumped on a submersible and for a Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard has interdicted more drugs than all the other agencies in America combined, yet their budget's inadequate. And the former commandant, the commandants get a little more outspoken when they're getting to retirement. So Admiral Zumkov, just before he retired, was testifying, and he said, you know, he said, we have actionable intelligence on probably 80% of the drugs coming into the United States, and I have the resources to intercept 20% in terms of ships, helicopters, and
that's many gunships.
And our military can't do that. It has to be the Coast Guard, because they can't do civilian law enforcement. So I just passed a Coast Guard bill with my colleagues' support out of my committee that increases the budget for the Coast Guard. And I keep beating on this, and I said, if you want to spend $5 billion, $7 billion on, you know, I don't know how people remember the Maginot Line that the French built, you know, and the Germans went around it through the Ardennes forest in like 6 hours. That's what building a wall is about, because they're coming through the ports of entry and now they're going around on the seas. So if we want to be effectively interdicting drugs, the Coast Guard would be a much better investment if we get an extra $5 or $7 billion or whatever his stupid wall is going to cost. But he has, you know, he did divert some money out of the last Pentagon allocation, which didn't have the prohibition, and hopefully we will hold that prohibition through conference with the Senate. And it's being contested in the courts, and the court didn't rule that he could do it, but the court wouldn't do an injunction. So I'm afraid that, you know, they're going to be out there slinging bricks and mortar or whatever they're going to make this thing out of, and I think that was $2 billion wasted for something that isn't going to have any impact. I mean, most of the people he's upset about are walking up to the Border Patrol and saying, I'm requesting asylum in the United States of America, and they're not even sneaking through the desert, and they're not carrying drugs. But, you know, anyway, that's why he wants to build a wall for no reason. Anyway, my voice is running down. Thanks very much for being here. I appreciate it.